News. The government has announced a new crackdown on drugs, with Prime Minister Boris Johnson even joining police in Merseyside on a dawn drug raid yesterday. Now, the 10-year strategy will cost around £780 million. This is in a bid to tackle criminal gangs and provide rehabilitation for drug users. Before we talk about the actual strategy, Janet, everybody, of course, is talking about the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, on that raid yesterday, saying, what did he look like? What was he wearing? Should he have even been there? Is it just a publicity stunt, press shot,
Well,
et
it was a photo opportunity. And what he was announcing was incredibly serious, costing a huge amount of money that will impact on hundreds of thousands of people who are, you know, long-term drug addicts in this country. So to dress up as an extra from Z-Cars or Line of Duty is, frankly, embarrassing.
But then people would say, well, he had to wear something like that because he was actually, they were on a drug raid. He had a stab vest on. Police had to identify that he was with the police. And if he hadn't have done any of that, we possibly wouldn't even be talking about it today.
But once again, it's all about Boris. He just comes across as a cross between a clown and Norman Wisdom.
He could have just had a suit on, a normal suit on, and had a vest over the top of it, and you'd still think... You can see what he looks like, you know it's him, and he's not going to get stabbed or whatever. But I just think that was just going a little bit too far.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, do you not think it's just... People say, well, that's just Boris. I mean, remember him going on the zip wire? I mean, he kind of maybe just likes to have that slightly dishevelled look, gets us all talking.
Do you know what? I do think people go, oh, it's just Boris. And it is. And, you know, the zip wire thing was hilarious and was Boris. But what I find disturbing is we go, oh, it's just Boris, like he's a clown of the country. And that's embarrassing. Yeah. I don't want our Prime Minister to be... It's just Boris being silly. He's in charge of the country, and that really scares me a bit, that I look at him and get embarrassed.
OK, well, let's talk about the actual strategy, Janet. It's a 10-year strategy, and they're saying that they're going to target middle-class drug users. So I think the idea behind this is they're saying people might think, you know, they're at their nice posh dinner party and it's all very lovely, and they get some cocaine and that's it, and they just maybe they would consider themselves recreational drug users. But if you trace those drugs back, that could end up, you know, a 14-year-old boy on a county line being involved in a gang. You know, there was recently a 14-year-old boy stabbed. They're killing each other for their phones to get contact details. And they're saying, you know, that the two worlds are so removed that, you know, at the posh dinner party, they're not thinking of where these drugs come from. So they're saying we're going to target those people as well as trying to help people who are addicts.
Making that statement was a diversionary tactic, because actually... It's great that the government's going to give the police more money to crack down on county lines. Nobody would disagree with that because of the terrible impact it's having on young kids who are being lured into gangs and blackmailed into doing this dreadful work. Nobody would disagree, well, nobody sensible, in my opinion, would disagree with spending hundreds of millions of pounds on counselling and a rehab for long-term drug addicts, because they are responsible for, I think, £20 billion worth of crime a year. Now, that's a huge amount coming from a small amount of people who rob, steal and commit violent acts to fund their habits. But where I disagree is this whole headline-grabbing initiative, like shop a friend. So now we've got the health minister weighing in, saying, you know, if I was at a party and I saw someone taking drugs, you know, I feel you should shop your friends. Most people in this country would not do that, because we've moved a long way down the road of people using soft drugs. I'm not talking now about cocaine or heroin or crack. I'm talking about cannabis has just entered the mainstream.
But say it was cocaine, Brenda. Say you were invited to someone's for dinner, you know, your own friends or a friend of a friend, and somebody got drugs out, cocaine and things. Would you feel comfortable then saying, I'm going to phone the police?
You know, what they're doing in their home is their business. For me, personally, I'm not there to watch what you're doing anyway. I just mind my business. To be honest, you know, the entertainment industry, it's been well documented, the sex, drugs, rock and roll, you know, this lifestyle. I was quite naive to it, you know, and didn't really know... I couldn't tell you what somebody looks like if they were taking coke or anything. You know, what upsets me is sometimes when I come out of some of the theatres and you look down the streets, you know, some of the stage doors they've got these the alleyways that are just dark, and you see people in the crevices with needles and everything.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about people coming past there with their young kids and needles just hanging
I think
about.
it's not what they're saying, though, is that people say, oh, well, you know, that's just a middle-class dinner party, it's fine, we turn a blind eye. And yet if you maybe perhaps, I don't know, Colin, walking past through a park and you saw young people you believed were taking drugs, or they were doing it outside your house, sitting on the, you know, curb, would you call the police?
I think if they were doing it outside my house and it was young people and I saw them doing hard drugs or buying drugs from a drug dealer, I would probably phone the police.
What about smoking a joint?
No.
No.
But then that's another topic.
And by the way,
wouldn't
Boris
say.
Johnson, in an interview with me in 2008, he admitted he took cocaine. And he is, you know, I find it a bit rich that our Prime Minister, OK, he was 19 when it happened, but here we are a long way down the line. OK, he's reformed, he's changed his position, but he can't tell us how to live our lives. He just can't.
No.
OK, well, I was saying it's a 10-year policy. This is only just... I think, actually, the report doesn't come out till Monday, does it, or something? So, you know, I'm sure we will be talking about it again. But let us know what you think. We'd love to have your views.